If you're a focused learner looking to cut through the noise and get straight to the core of how businesses actually win in the real world, well, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're going to unpack the core deliverables of an incredibly focused module simply titled Designing Market-Driven Strategies. We're going to look closely at our source material to map out exactly how we get from abstract academic theory into real, tangible business practice. I absolutely love this topic because at the end of the day, it's all about execution. So get ready to focus in because we are going to break down exactly what it takes to design a strategy that the market actually responds to.
I want to hook your attention right out of the gate with an exact quote directly from our source material. It says, the participants would have the hand-on, practical knowledge to apply market-driven strategies. I really want you to zero in on that phrase, hands-on, practical knowledge. That is the ultimate promise of this material. We aren't here to just memorize definitions or, look at case studies from 50 years ago. The entire goal here is application. It's about equipping you with the actual tools and the know-how to roll up your sleeves and put a market-driven strategy into motion.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our curriculum roadmap for today. First, market-driven strategy foundations. Second, the hands-on practical approach. Third, targeting and strategic positioning. Fourth, crafting relationship strategies. And finally, planning for new products.
Section 1. Market-driven strategy foundations.
So before we get into the specific deliverables, we absolutely need to understand the foundation, right? Based on our source text, market-driven strategies, in this context, is defined as a module where participants gain the ability to practically apply and create targeted market initiatives. The source material isn't about abstract academic concepts. It's not about sitting back and theorizing. It is entirely focused on the tangible application of these foundational strategies. To be market-driven means you're letting the realities of the market dictate your actions, and you're actively creating initiatives to respond to those realities. It means instead of just building a product and hoping people buy it, you're analyzing what people actually need right now and building initiatives specifically for them.
Moving right along to Section 2, the hands-on practical approach.
What's really interesting here is the implied contrast. The source explicitly guarantees a move away from passive theory directly into hands-on practical knowledge to apply. By stating that participants will have the practical knowledge to apply these strategies, the text is drawing a hard line in the sand. You aren't just an observer anymore, you literally become a practitioner. You transition from just knowing what a strategy is to actually knowing how to build one from scratch.
Now, this methodology relies on creating 4 specific, tangible assets: market targeting, strategic positioning, relationship strategies, and planning for new products. It's like a giant puzzle where all 4 pieces are absolutely crucial. These aren't just random business buzzwords. According to the text, these are the 4 pillars that constitute a comprehensive market-driven strategy. If you're going to apply a strategy, these are the 4 things you actually have to build.
All right, Section 3, targeting and strategic positioning.
So when the rubber really meets the road, what specific assets must you actually create first to get a market-driven strategy off the ground? What's the initial output required here?
Well, according to the text, the very first thing participants will do is create market targeting and strategic positioning. And I want to lean heavily into that active verb right there, create. You aren't being handed a target market, you have to define it yourself. You aren't being given a position, you have to carve it out. Market targeting is deciding exactly who you're going to serve. Are you aiming for budget-conscious students or luxury-seeking executives? And then strategic positioning is deciding how you want that specific group to perceive you compared to your rivals. Creating these 2 assets forms the absolute bedrock of your entire market approach.
Section 4. Crafting relationship strategies.
Okay, so you've figured out exactly who you're targeting, and you've established your strategic position in their minds. Awesome! But a market-driven strategy doesn't stop there. What must participants create next to actually sustain their newly established market position over time? The text explicitly states that participants will create the relationship strategies. This is a truly fascinating inclusion. It shows us that a market-driven strategy is not just some one-time transaction. It acknowledges that acquiring a customer through targeting and positioning is, frankly, only half the battle. To be genuinely market-driven, you've got to actively architect how you will interact with, retain, and grow your audience over the long haul. This means creating loyalty loops, feedback mechanisms, and post-purchase engagement. This relationship strategy is the glue that makes your initial positioning actually stick.
And that brings us to Section 5, planning for new products.
We all know markets are never static, right? They're constantly evolving. So how does this curriculum ensure that participants aren't just solving for today, but are actually ready for future market demands? How do we move beyond our current strategies?
The text gives us the final creation required in this module, planning for new products. And this just brilliantly completes the whole cycle. You see, a genuinely market-driven strategy is inherently forward-looking. By requiring plans for new products, you're anticipating changes in your audience's needs and preparing to innovate way before competitors can disrupt you. It practically guarantees your strategy won't become obsolete.
Let's move to and see how this builds together sequentially. First, you target exactly who you are talking to. Second, you position yourself to stand out to them. Third, you craft relationship strategies to keep them loyal. And finally, you plan for new products to evolve right alongside them. It is a complete, end-to-end framework.
So, we've unpacked the text and revealed the roadmap, the promise. The promise of the module was hands-on practical knowledge, moving you from passive theory to active creation. Now that you understand the requirement to build these 4 distinct pillars, targeting, positioning, relationships, and new product planning, how will you step out of the textbook and apply your market-driven strategy today?